Greetings and welcome back to the home of the Multiverse Drifters. My name is Withershins, I'm the Game Master for the Multiverse Drifters, and today we have a little something special for you. We're going to be doing a brief overview walkthrough of the DC20 character sheet. Why are we doing that? Over the last month or so, I've had an opportunity to introduce this system to a ton of people, and one of the things that has been universal is the blank look of dread and growing anxiety that comes across somebody's face when they're handed a blank paper full of acronyms and blank spaces and quasi-math that they don't know what means what. So, I invite you to take a second, take a breath with me, and let's talk about this sheet together. Before we do that, I would just like to remind you that your character sheet is not your character. Your character is what happens at the table. Your character are the stories that you tell with the fellow adventurers that are there. Your character are the victories and the heartbreaking defeats, the wins and the losses, the stories that are told, the songs that are sung. And none of that has to do with these numbers. They don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be just right. If you have questions, talk to the players at your table. Talk to the game master. Everybody's going to be happy to help. Okay? Let's move over to our sheet. This is all pretty simple. As you can see, the DC20 character sheet is divided into some pretty simple categories already. This box at the top is player name, character name, class and subclass, ancestry, and background. We're not worried about that stuff right now because we're likely starting at level 1, and that correlates to a combat mastery of 1. The combat mastery is a very important modifier that's put onto a lot of stuff and is reflective of your level divided by 2. So this is a 1, and it's going to stay a 1 until you are level 3. Okay, so put that 1 there and forget it. You can also put a 1 here. Let's move over to this column on the left. These are our attributes, and the attributes in DC20, as you can see, are 4, yet there are 5 boxes. These first 2 attributes are called the physical attributes, and the bottom 2 are the mental attributes. The physical attributes are might and agility. Might is physical strength, robustness, toughness of body, right? So not just brute strength, but also hardiness. Agility is nimbleness and dexterity, the ability to move smoothly and quickly, fast. Charisma is the ability to speak, but it's also personal presence, right? So it's charisma as a trait of interacting with others, but it's also how a person carries themselves and the force of their will. Intelligence is reflective of the depth of knowledge, but also the breadth. Think classic smarts plus wisdom. These are reflected in some of the skills that are under each of these attributes, and we're going to go over those in a moment. But as I'm talking about these 4 attributes, might, agility, charisma, and intelligence, think a little bit now of the character that you would like to play. Are they especially strong, or fast, or charismatic? Are they very intelligent? Are they knowledgeable? You're then going to go to the standard array, which is 3, 1, 0, and -2 in the box of the attribute that you want your character to be the best at. At the attribute that's most reflective of your character, you're going to put the 3. In the next one, which you're above average at, but it isn't the main thing that you do, you're going to get a 1. With the 0, you're absolutely average, completely normal in it. And in the -2, it's the opportunity to express the things that your character might not be the best at. And those are great opportunities for establishing and interacting with some of the situations that are going to come up at the table. The prime modifier, this box here up at the top, is always going to be your highest attribute. So whichever of these fields you put your 3 into, this is always going to be a 3. And it's always going to be the attribute that your class skills, that the things that your character is doing to attack and do incredible things, is going to be driven by. So this is always a 3. These are always in the order of however you want to place them. 3, 1, 0, and -2. The next thing that we're going to talk about is not only our characters' attributes, the things that they can do, but the things that they can save against. And that's these categories right here under saves. You can see that each attribute has a box next to it. Your character's saving against difficulties and damage, challenges that are given to them that they need to surpass. So these values here are always going to be reflective of the attribute value in the correlating box. So if your might is 1, your save over here is going to be 1. The exception to that is you get 2 save masteries, and that's why there are these 4 bubbles here at the end. You get to fill in 2 of those and apply your combat mastery, which is currently 1, to the value of your attribute for this field. Okay, so if my might is a 3, my I've taken a save mastery in might, and so I'm going to apply my combat mastery of 1 to my 3 for a save value for might saves of 4. The next area of the character sheet are background, skills, trades, and languages. Your background goes right here behind your ancestry, and there's quite a list of backgrounds. I encourage you to look through it and allow the flavors and the options of what's presented there to impact your character's backstory. Think of this as the lived experience that your character has had before you arrive in the story. What experience are they bringing with them? Where have they been before they became an adventurer? Skills are all of these abilities that are listed under each of the attributes, and they reflect attempting to do very specific things. Over the course of your game, when you say what it is that you'd like to do, your game master is often going to tell you to give them a check for one of these skills. If you're trying to be especially sneaky in taking something unnoticed, you may call or she may call for a trickery check, and that would be the value that you placed in over here. These skills are an area that often get confusing because, to be honest, it's quite a long list of words. But they're words that have meanings, and they're all chosen to reflect different activities that you're trying to engage in. If there's something that you don't know which skill it is that you would need to roll for, your game master is probably going to help you in determining which roll or check that's going to be. An important thing to know in skills is you see these bubbles here at the top. They go from novice, adept, expert, to master, and grandmaster. These represent the levels of mastery in each of these skills. As a level 1 character, you are capped at novice level skills. You cannot be adept in a skill until level 5. Okay, so at that point you'll be able to unlock this next bubble. Each character is going to be given 5 skill points at the start of the game for you to distribute as you like amongst all of these different categories. There are descriptions in the player's manual, or you can ask your game master about specifically what kind of situations are going to provoke which kind of checks. But these are going to be the things where you put your points, the things that you're going to think that you're going to be wanting to try to do most often with this character. Trades are also similarly capped at novice, which means only this bubble. There are a list of trades that you're going to be going through when you're actually making your character. These are things that you're going to be often doing in downtime, or will inform the quality of a check if you're looking to understand the type of stone that a building's made out of, or the type of metal, or assess weak points in joints of metal, estimate the value of jewelry, these sorts of things. And should also be reflective of maybe your background, where your character's been, can connect to what it is that they've done. Languages, each character begins with 2 language points, which you can use on mortal or exotic languages of your choice. Additionally, you can convert 1 trade point, so this is also of interest. You can convert 1 trade point into 2 language points. Okay? So if you see yourself as more of a thinker and speaker than a hands-on craftsman sort, that is an option. Health points, reflected by this beautiful heart in the center of our page, is 6 plus your character level of 1 plus your might score, reflecting the hardiness of your body, followed by this here with the maximum, and any temporary hit points that you receive in the game go into this box. Okay, so feel no need to fill in all of these values. You're only going to have a max and a current. The fields next to hit points are mana and stamina points. Mana points are used by spellcasters and begin at 6, which would go right here in the max, and your current mana points would always go right there. So initially it could be 6 and 6. Stamina points are for martial characters, and when you're choosing your class, you'll learn a little bit more about what your class gets assigned. Stamina points, all martial characters begin with 1 max and 1 current. And when you use that in combat, each class that has stamina has ways to regain those stamina points. So consider that when in the heat of combat. The following two boxes over here on the right are for physical defense and mystical defense, and those are obtained by 8 plus your combat mastery, plus your agility, and any armor bonuses that you're going to be receiving. Your mystical defense is going to be derived from 8 plus your combat mastery, plus your charisma, plus your intelligence. This little pool right here for damage reduction will come up in equipment, generally shields and heavy armors, and will be added on at some later point, but those are also very interesting. Next, we're going to talk about our combat modifiers, which are right here, and are basically easy to fill in from the very beginning. They represent your prime attribute plus your combat mastery for your attack and spell check, which is always going to begin with a 4. Your save DC is 10 plus your combat mastery plus your prime modifier. So that's always going to begin at a 14. Your martial check is the highest of your athletic or acrobatic score for your martial check. The death threshold is going to be 0 hit points minus your prime, which is always 3, so you're going to put in -3. The starting move speed, which may be modified by your ancestry, is going to be a baseline of 5. Your jump distance is equal to your agility with a minimum of 1. Okay, so even if you have a negative agility, your jump distance remains 1. And then we come down here to our rest points. This is equal to our might attribute plus 1. So that's, depending on the value that you've given it, the amount of hit points, the amount of health that you can recover when you take breaks. Okay, so the more hardy you are, the more health that you're able to recover when you rest. And grit points, which are also very useful in combat, are your charisma score plus 2. So now that we've got all of these areas of the sheet filled in, we're going to return to the top of this box and begin going through Ancestry, which represents your biology and how you've grown and developed since your birth. You gain ancestry traits from your chosen ancestry at level 1, level 4, and level 7. So these are going to be automatic bonuses and growth steps that your character is going to make as you level up, and should also represent pretty heavily into who your character is. After that, you're going to take some time and find a class that seems meaningful. Make sure to familiarize yourself with your class features. Those are going to go in here. After you've familiarized yourself with your class features, you're going to want to add in the equipment that you're able to get. You choose which starting equipment you want. You gain some from your class, and the rest comes along from your background. Once you've got your equipment here, identify the attacks that you're most likely going to want to use. If you're a spellcasting class, feel free to add your most common attack magic that you're going to be using right here as a quick reference, and keep track of your inventory. Concluding our summary of the character sheet for the DC20 system, I just want to remind you that this character sheet is not your character. Your character is what you bring to the table, the choices that you face, the moments that you have, the victories and the defeats. Go forth, have great times together, and remember that any questions that you have can be asked to the players at the table or to your game master. It's been a pleasure going through this with you. I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you very much from the Multiverse Drifters. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. We look forward to having you back at our channel, and we'll see you next time.